I want to talk about this natural progression of our culture. Um, Naturally, we're getting more and more competitive. We need to know more. We need to be more skillful, more talented, um, more expressive, and more creative. I do believe that AI will take away a lot of the manual stuff, the skillful stuff. But skillful and creativeness is something that AI can't do. They can't be creative and skillful. Not yet, anyways. But my point is, our world is naturally becoming more and more competitive as the demand for work, or the value of work is increasing. Right, you need to be more valuable in order to be part of this economy. But again, this is coming from I'm young. I still know very little about the economy. I'm not very educated on it, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make here is this idea of competitiveness. So I'm very socially anxious. I am pretty bad socially. I talk a lot. I struggle to listen, and I think the one of the main issues in society is we don't know how to fucking listen. We don't know how to just sit back and let the person talk. We always want to say our fucking words, and and eventually these conversations become a narcissistic battle of let me fucking say what I have to say. No, let me say what I have to fucking say. It's not sharing. You're not sharing the space. You're not sharing the conversation. You're just trying to get your word out. And so I feel that something that adds on to the loneliness that a lot of people feel in the society is the lack of it's the inability for people to be able to just listen, right? Because we just constantly want to prove ourselves to people, and this is where it connects to competitiveness. Now, you need to be competitive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that competitiveness isn't good. I do think that it brings out the best. I do think it brings out um, I want to say the best in us, but that's not necessarily the way I want to say it. But yeah, I'll just say it brings out the best in us, right? We progress more. We adapt faster, uh, and because we're stressed, because we know that we need to win. We invent new things. We create new things. We find new ways to do things. And so, competitiveness is not necessarily a bad thing, but when it comes to this idea of just community, of people, of social connections, it leads down a pretty fucking bad. It results in. It has some pretty bad results. I'll just say that it has some pretty bad results when you're holding this mindset to be competitive. So let me put this in perspective. Now, what do I mean by competitiveness? Well, it's human nature to look at one another and be like, I'm better than this fucking guy, or I'm worse than this guy, I'm smarter than this guy, I'm dumber than this guy. You're just mirroring yourself when you see other people, and so like a lot of times you're afraid of the judgments, or you're afraid of people judging you. They're not fucking judging you. They're judging themselves through you. They're mirroring themselves through yourself, through you, through yeah. If that makes sense. Like you're seeing yourself through someone else. You're not saying, "Oh, look at this fucking guy. Look at this goddamn loser." You're not saying that. You're saying, "Okay, well, what does he have that I don't, or what do I have that they don't?" You're comparing yourself to them, and that's natural. You can't change that. But the one thing I think you can change is this idea of superiority and inferiority, right? Those are subjective judgments. The idea that you are better or worse than someone is a subjective judgment. And to prove this, I'll just use a few examples. What makes somebody better than another person? Is it money? What if you're self-sustained, right? You live off of nature. You don't need to pay the land because the land's paid, and you might have to pay taxes, but if you don't have a living wage, and those taxes are pretty low, or you're self-sustained, but self-sustained also means just sorry, I'm not using I'm losing train of thought. Self-sustained basically means that you hunt for your food, you gather your own water, you make a fire during the winter, you adapt to the heat during the summer, and money is not something that you truly value. Therefore, money is not a way to tell if somebody's superior or inferior to you. So what about fame? What about fame, right? Well, some people like their privacy. Some people don't like to constantly be surrounded by paparazzi and be recognized all over the fucking place. People just want to be left alone. And so again, fame comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of drawbacks. And so I don't think that's a way of telling if someone's better or worse than you. I'm trying to think of another example. In a sport, if somebody has been playing longer than you, they know more than you. They have more experience, more talent, more skill. They're not better or worse than you. They're just further ahead in their own journey than you are at this point. They're just further ahead. And so, point being, this idea of better or worse is inevitably subjective. So what is objective about humans? If we can't look at humans as superior and inferior, then how should we see each other? Right? That's the question. How should we see one another? And it's simple. The objective reality is humans are equal but different. To go deeper into this, you have people who are cold, but you also have people who are empathetic. You have people who are street smart. You have people who are book smart. You have people who are very blunt. You have people who are very shy, are very self-conscious, right? And this chaotic nature that everybody has, the things that you can't predict about people, is what makes people unique. This idea of fucking normal is so stupid, because normal is simply just average. And you're not average. Nobody's fucking average, because to be average is to just be mediocre, and to be mediocre means you're not unique in this way. Now, I do agree that this idea of individualism is killing our sense of community. And without a sense of community, you don't have grounded values, and without grounded values, you have no fucking shame. Without any shame, you see you see the way that the world's ending up. We have no fucking shame. Anyways, my point being, I forget what my fucking point is. Well, yeah, my point is that don't look at people as competitive, in this competitive mindset. Look at people as, what can I gain from them? What makes them interesting? What makes them unique? Because they're not normal. They're not fucking normal, and you're not normal either. Nobody's fucking normal. This idea of normal is bullshit. It's this made up fucking term to bully someone into commission, not into submission, but into to stop doing something that people don't feel like is normal. Like, in a society that abuses animals, in a society where the average population abuses animals, you'll be abnormal for not abusing animals. You'll be fucking shamed, shunned, embarrassed, and eventually you will either give in to that fucking peer pressure and start abusing animals, or you'll say, no, fuck that shit. That's wrong. People should not be doing this. We should not be doing this as a culture. And so, this idea of normal and abnormal is, again, subjective. It's completely and utterly part of your perception. And I guess I'll leave it there. Hopefully I gave you something to think about. If I could actually make a cohesive sentence. I really do struggle with making a point. But, yeah.